Hello, Hearties. It's me, James Lott Jr., of course. The Wayne Calls Heart Aftershow here on JLJ Media, the OG of all the shows. I've been around for almost 10 years doing this. And I'm so happy I get to talk to the stars of the show and my friends. And last season we couldn't really have everybody on, so now I'm playing catch up. And she's one of my favorites, off camera and on. She plays Mei-Sue on the show. My friend, Miss Amanda Wong. I miss Amanda.
Hi, everyone. 10 years, that's so long. But I mean, you're the best in the biz. That's why.
Thank you very much. I'll take that. No, we fell in love with the show right away, and we started doing it a long time ago. So I'm glad to still be around, and the show is still around.
Hmm.
11, season 11. Oh my God! But I have to ask you something because of season 10. So I have to
Okay.
put it first, but also it coincides with AAIP month, or Heritage Month for Asian American Pacific Islander, which of course you are a part of that, and I'm a part of that through my family. My godmother and they were Chinese and Japanese. Um,
Hmm.
you got to do something that I talked to Lindsay Sturman about this also when I had her on. I love that they incorporated the Mei-Sue's. I guess it was kind of like a mini monologue. We were talking to Fiona and talking to just talk about Chinese versus Chinese American.
Hmm.
Mei-Sue felt, and you had this. I mean, I didn't expect when I saw this on the show. I was like, where? I love this because it's also relatable to anybody from an immigrant family. But how was it for you to actually, with the face cream, your grandma? How rewarding was that for you to have an episode like that?
Oh man, it was super rewarding. It was also really like, I guess, it's hard for me to describe. I think there's a little bit of tension in my heart with that one because I think that like May, I was born and raised in North America, and I lived in Asia for a little bit, but it I am definitely distinguishable from local people in Asia, and obviously in Canada, I really celebrate my heritage, but there is a lot of sense of not Asian enough, especially sometimes when it comes to like language skills. I can speak fluently in my mind, and then you go into a place that where everyone is local, and you're like, wait a second, I'm not as fluent as I thought I was.
Yes,
And you know what I mean? And
yes.
then you realize also the vocabulary that your parents or teachers or the movies have taught you is not really what everybody says
No,
all
it's
the time.
not. It's not.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So
Yeah.
I don't know any terms. So I grew up not really knowing any slang or swear words and things like that. Not that that's a bad thing, but
I know, but
um,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so there was, this a slight disconnect where being Asian and being super proud of my culture was something that I really held dear to me. And then I go somewhere where everyone is also Asian and more culturally strong in their own culture than I am. And I'm like, oh, wait a second. My identity that was based on something is really being shaken up. And I think that with May, around friends and family, she could totally be comfortable in her culture and in her own Asian and just be able to celebrate that. But then when it's outsiders kind of looking in for the first time, then you're supposed to be the spokesperson of it, or they could more easily, I guess, see the flaws in the things. Whereas with friends and family, no one's like judging you. You're just kind of accepted. And so I think that when it came to that face mask scene where she was saying that the tourists, they want you to be an expert, and I don't feel like an expert. Sometimes I think that a lot of people who have kind of cross identities can really feel that way.
I love that, and I did it because it was those show because we're learning about Mei-Sue still. Like we don't know all of her background, and so I thought
Right.
it was very cool to have it be a grandparent. Speaking, so it falls into themes of when called sort of generational stuff. So it was a
Yeah.
grandparent, how much she loved this using this face. She loved this mixture. That everybody there loved it also. I mean, that's part of the thing. But for you to be encouraged, I thought kudos to Win Called Art, but to be encouraged to bring that because she said bring that with you, like bring all that with you. It's fine. So
Hmm.
as an actor, where it's not exactly your story, but like it's something similar. It must have felt really cool to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't even think about this until later, but there's so many parallels with May and myself, Amanda.
Okay.
Coming onto the show, I am the new kid in town, but it's weird because I'm not that new
No,
anymore.
you're not anymore. No, no,
Yeah. But then, in season 10, it was my second year. And so my first season, I spent a lot of time with Kevin McGarry, the Mountie Grant, and also Andrea Brooks, who plays Faith. And so because I was spending so much time with them, my second season, I was kind of branching out onto my own, and I'm meeting more of the other castmates, and especially Fiona, played by Kayla Wallace. And I think that where my journey as an actor was going with May, it was similar to my trajectory as Amanda on the show, because I was getting to know everybody else on a more personal level, and they were very accepting and open to me being myself and just, come as you are. And that was really nice in a metaphoric and a literal sense.
Yeah, I think some people don't understand. For folks at home, when you're there long days, you're working, and when you're in certain storylines, a lot of times you're just with those actors.
Yes.
So kind of explain that a little bit for me. Like say, the other actors, but like you're not with them, working with them so much, but you're usually
Right.
certain ones. If you're in a storyline with them, you work with them totally.
Right. Thank you so much for mentioning that, because I totally just went over my head.
I
But
know, it's like there's something like you know those people, but like you work with the like yes.
Yeah, so how it works is on the group scene days, and we get to see everyone and we get to mingle. But for example, May's storyline doesn't really interact too much with the Coulters, for instance,
No,
or
funny.
right, or Governor Bouchard, right? We don't really see them. I don't see them too much. I spend a lot of my time with Faith because we're in a similar profession and we're also roommates. And I spend a lot of time now with Mike, because we have been dating for 5 months,
Right.
and a little bit of the Yosts because they're my employers. But other than that, I don't really, I see the Canfields more for advice sometimes, but mostly just Minnie. I hardly ever see Joseph. And so it's interesting because Viv Leacock and Natasha and I are friends in real life.
Right.
But we hardly ever work together.
You don't. I'm like, I'm sitting, I'm like, I'm having an epiphany right now. I'm going, yeah, you're not really with them that much.
Yeah.
And also, like you said, the culture. I don't really see you and Rosemary together. You and Lydia. That's so interesting.
Hardly. I think I've had maybe a couple interactions with Lee Coulter. I've seen Kevin, of course, but I don't really interact with him too much.
Yeah. That's the thing, folks. When you're working a story, you're busy, you're busy doing all that. And you say group scenes, you see each other, but you're busy working on your storyline. Not always together. So that's we thought. Well, leading to this, so when you first started seeing, because we saw Mei-Sue had an ex-husband, that whole thing, and ran from that.
Yeah,
that was
fake ex-husband, guys. It was forged papers.
Forged. Oh yeah, it was forged. That's right. It was forged. Hey, that's right. It wasn't real. Yes.
Yeah.
But now you've entered, when you first started seeing that Mei-Sue was going to be talking to Hickam, to Mike. What were your thoughts on that a little bit? Because it was like, he's a character who's been around from the beginning. He's just been around for a long time. He's kind of like this everyman character. He's a huge person on the canvas to me, but like he's like around, but they're actually hooking you into his direction.
Well, so interestingly, again, in my first season and a half, I didn't really interact much with Ben Rosenbaum, who plays Mike Hickam. And but Ben was the first person to introduce himself to me on my first day. Yeah, so we quickly became friends. And so I think that I didn't really necessarily see it coming, but in hindsight, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Because I think it was the kind of the picnic scene where I didn't even realize that they were laying down seeds until I watched it. And I was like, oh my gosh, if I'd known, I should have done something about that. Like, we should have played more that, comrades in misery or something. But I didn't even think about that too much. I was just only thinking about May is seeing her best friend and her previous crush date, and now she's like on her own, and she's a little bit sad about that, but wants their happiness. I was only thinking about it from May's point of view. I wasn't even thinking about like potential new man, So I didn't think about it. And then we did a tug of war scene at the barbecue.
Yeah.
And again, I didn't think about it. And then I think it was either Andrew or Ben who was like, I think they're seeing if there's chemistry between us. Because sometimes with the show, they'll write based on things that they see. And also, I think that's probably why they started to make my character a little bit like more playful as we went on, because I came in this strong character, and she was like very stern, and it had, you know, a lot of mystery and, you know, covering and things like that. And then I think maybe I don't know if they saw me be a goof off camera, or they saw me be silly, you know, in a scene or something, and they're like, ooh, let's just try to see what happens if the two silly people, or
Yes.
maybe he brings out the silly in her. And so I think that's where things have just kind of evolved and melded through the episodes.
Well, you know, it's true, and they also add that whole musical elements.
Oh
So,
yeah.
how do you feel about this? I haven't just talked to you in a while, so I'm like, I've been like a little bit holding on to you. I'm like, so how do you feel? I've been wanting to ask you, how do you feel about that whole thing? It was cute. It was so cute. I was like, is Amanda sing? Like what's going on? Like what?
That's so funny. So my audition, actually, I was singing, I was supposed to sing to the horse Newton. And
Oh,
so I actually auditioned to sing, what was it? What song was it? It was some, I was singing two songs to the horse.
okay.
So my audition, I had to sing in it. I can't even remember what song it was. Oh,
Oh my God.
you're a grand old flag, you're a high flying flag. That's the one I sang. Um, so so they knew I sang a bit, right?
Okay. Okay.
And I didn't know what was going to happen. And then when they did the choir scene, I was like, okay, this is. I was pretty nervous, and I was like, but I'm a bad singer, so like if I'm not good, then it's like part of the character. and then so we're singing it live in front of everyone, and I was like, oh, it's fine, we'll just ADR it later, you know,
Yeah.
it's no big
Right.
deal.
Yeah. Exactly.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's cool, we just have to all pretend like I'm doing a good job or whatever. And then the day of ADR came, and I didn't realize it was a singing scene. So I think the night before, I was like just at karaoke with my friends, and like drinking milk, and, you know, like having matcha lattes. And I was like, my voice was like so hoarse. And I didn't remember that we had to do that on that day.
Oh my
And
God.
so we go in, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, haven't been practicing. I didn't warm up. My voice is barely coming out. And then John Serrata, our composer, was there, and he was like, okay, try it. And I was like, okay. And so I sang the song, and then I was like, was that okay? I was so in my own head that I didn't even know what I sounded like.
Yeah.
And then he was like, yeah, it's fine. And I was like, okay, wait, maybe you should go again? He's like, no, it's fine. And then I listened to it after, and I was like, oh man, I wish I warmed up. I wish I did something different there. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
I love it.
My time to
Yeah.
sing well. And anyway, very dramatic. And I totally forgot about that until you mentioned it. So thank you for bringing that memory back
You're
up for me.
welcome. My pleasure. Like I said, I had things to hold on to for a couple seasons here. I think.
Yeah.
Yes, but I was coming.
It's like ages ago.
But in the positive part of it was it started to bring you guys in the same orbit, and I figured they were they call it chem testing folks out there at home. I
Yeah,
figured they
yeah.
were chem testing you guys to see what was going on there. So I was like, okay, it works. It totally works. I like it.
Well,
Um,
what's nice about that is that Mike's character, he was supposed to be someone who's been singing for a long time.
yeah,
So where he's been unsuccessful in relationships before, he's always been nervous and things like he's coming from a position of like confidence, and he didn't know that, as we didn't. He didn't know also, like Mike's character, like Mike didn't know. I get Ben Rosenbaum knew, but Mike didn't know that he, you know, there was a potential romance here. So there was no pressure or expectation. So he was able to come into this new relationship confident where he hasn't been able to in the past.
yeah. Yeah, that's the thing about him is that we were waiting for him as fans. We're like, we want him front and center. We want him in the story. Like we want him to feel like he can do stuff because he's becoming the backbone of this town on some level
Mm-hmm.
of Hope
Mm-hmm.
Valley. I mean when they made him mayor, that was hilarious. I was like,
Yeah.
and the other day they were like, well, so you're the acting mayor, Bill, but you're still officially. I'm like, I forgot all about that. I was like, oh my God, he's still kind of the mayor still. It made us a little chuckle, but it's like that's really funny. But he's kind of like this backbone. Now he's running the hotel. And it's like he's like the backbone of this.
Totally, totally. And then also the interesting thing is, I didn't even, the writers were so clever about this, and you know, when I'm reading it, I don't always get it at the time. But then looking at it in on the screen. I'm like, oh, well, that's why. But like Mayor Hickam and Mayor Hickam, that's hilarious, you know?
Oh my, right.
Right? There's two Mayor Hickams. And then also
Right.
if you know, if anything happens between Mike and I, then it would be M. Hickam for every
Oh,
Maisie, Mike, and May.
right.
You know what I mean?
I didn't think about that. Wait a minute. Oh my God. I'm so used to calling him Hickam all the time. Oh my God, it's Mike and Mei-Sue, both M. You have the same initials.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that part. But I know when they brought on his sister, I go, oh my, he has 5 sisters and they're all this. I was like, that all makes sense. That all tracks to me. Like for
Do
his
you know do you know his sisters' names?
no, I don't know the names.
They all start with M too.
Because Maisie, of course. I'm like, but that's oh my goodness, that is hilarious.
Yeah, yeah.
That is hilarious. Um, I think it's very cool because, especially because you said it's AAIP month, PI month, that you're on a hit show on a
Hmm.
network where the representation is that you are front and center representation um, in an interracial storyline on a
Hmm.
hit show that everyone is basically is accepting. If you watch it, I haven't heard anything bad. Everyone's accepting it and they're loving it and they're accepting it. When I say it to you, how does that make you feel when you hear that?
I mean, good. I'm glad everyone accepts it. Um, yeah, I think I'm just at a little bit I'm really grateful that the fans have been really accepting of me. And if they haven't, I haven't seen anything.
Yeah,
So it's good.
I know I've
And
seen. I'm telling you, I haven't seen anything either. So far, it's all very positive. They're very positive.
yeah, well, it's really nice. And if they didn't want an interracial relationship, they would bring in, they had to bring in another guy for me.
Right.
They wanted me to end up with someone. So I'm really glad that I get to have a romantic storyline this year. And I'm really glad that the person that I get to have it with is, as you said, one of the staples in the
Yeah,
community and just the nicest guy in real life too.
yeah,
And because when you're, as we were talking about earlier, when you're sharing scenes with the person, you do spend a lot more time with them. And so it's really nice to spend time with a person that is a great person on and off camera and just a genuine, um, you know, kind-hearted, thoughtful person and a great friend as well.
yeah. Are you used to now? You've been on the show several years to the
Mhm.
period costumes.
Am I used to it?
Are you used to them? Are you getting used to them? I mean, there's a lot of stuff they do to you guys. I mean, the ladies especially have to go through.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I never had to wear the corsets,
Oh, you
and
haven't?
which
Okay.
yeah. So that's I hear that's a blessing, and I heard that it was sucky for the other girls. But it's so funny because you spend months wearing these outfits, and you get a little bit disillusioned. You like get a blouse from Barbara, and you're like, ooh, this is nice. I totally wear this out. No, you wouldn't. Put that back. Leave that in your trailer. You're not going to wear it out. And I'm always like, oh, I totally wear this in the city. No, you cannot take the person out of Hope Valley and just be like sauntering around the
Right,
streets. Like,
exactly. Now I would die. Oh my God, that's so with some jeans. Like I bought this nice bold blouse from 1900 with some jeans.
yeah. There was one blouse that I had, and Kayla's like, oh, totally wear that. I'm like, girl, give it a second. We both wouldn't wear it. Give it a second.
Oh, but you're on a show. We like a lot of shows. I was laughing when I was talking to Viv and Natasha a couple weeks ago. I'm like, it was so weird seeing them in regular clothes in that movie. I was like, that's a regular clothes. Like I'm so used to seeing them on screen. I mean, I know in person I've seen them with regular clothes, but like on screen, I'm used to them with the hairdos and the clothes. Like you guys are in regular clothes. And they were laughing. So I'm like saying for you, I'm just saying you're on one of the few shows that has period piece costuming. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Who do you find is the most surprising out of costume? Like you're just like, wow, transformation.
I want to say it was Kevin. I've seen
Ah,
the person many times where he seems to dress very casual. Like he's very just like Hawaiian
trendy,
shirt. Yeah,
casual. Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
yeah,
Super modern. Yeah.
yeah, super modern. And to see him in this where Lee is very dressed up. I mean, he's very part
Yeah.
of the period. It's funny. And I have not met him in person, but I've seen some pictures of Chris where he's
Hmm.
totally different. His style
Hmm.
is totally different than his style there's Lucas on the show. Like I thought pretty cool also. He's very hip of camera.
Yeah. He's totally. It's so interesting because like I love seeing my coworkers in and out of their clothes. I think that Johanna is one to see if
I
you
love
ever get the chance. She's so trendy. She dresses super cool. Also, I feel like Natasha, because she looks so specific on the show, she looks very different outside of the show. And I'm always just just like staring at her. Like whenever we're just she's beautiful. And that's also and it's interesting because now it's been several years, so I can't remember whose styles shocked me the most anymore. But also Ben dresses very cool and very chic, and yeah, it's lovely seeing everyone in and out, and even at the Hope Valley family reunion, you got a sense of everyone's personal styles, even the panel,
yeah.
and everyone looks so distinct and so just out, it was very distinguishable between everyone's different personal styles, I think.
So I
Even
get
the
to,
kids.
you're the kids. I didn't get a chance to ask you about that. What was it like for you at the family reunion? What was it like?
Oh yeah, it was so fun. It was my first time, and I really liked it. I was a little bit nervous, but having everyone beside me was really nice. I think also when it's like you and I like this, it's very easy to banter and things like that, and have a conversation because it is dialogue where you and I are bouncing off of each other. However, in group settings, even in interviews with another castmate or two, I find it really a little bit more challenging, or not challenging, but just not knowing when to say something versus here, because it's either I talk or you talk.
Right.
Where in group setting, I think I put a lot more pressure on myself to say something that is smart or something, I think. And so I was a little bit nervous about that in the panel, but it was just so effortless, and everyone was giving each other space and kind of giving each other opportunities, and based on personal conversations, be like, oh, you remember this? Why don't you tell them the story and things? And so that was really nice. And so all my worries were kind of melted away really quickly.
Yeah, it's a fun. I mean, I've done several in the past. I can go the year you were, but they're wonderful. They're fun, and it is a little overwhelming. The fans are just so happy to see you and meet
Mhm.
you in person. You're just like, oh my god, so many fans. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing. As we wrap up, we'll ask you a couple of questions. One, what would you say to somebody who hasn't watched the show? Why they should watch When Calls the Heart, in your opinion?
I think that in a world that can sometimes be stressful, and maybe a little bit more full of negativity. I think Hope Valley is a place that is just celebrates love and friendship and connection. And I think that everyone could do with a little bit more connection in life. And so that's why I think what's super rich about that. I think we don't often get as much community as we should in life these days. We're supposed to get like 8 hugs a day.
I
I
know. I love hugging. I
I
was,
do too.
I
And
was
every time I feel people, I see people, I'm like, I'm trying to get in my hugs today.
yeah.
So give me some hugs. And I feel like that's kind of like the Hope Valley vibe. We don't get enough hugs. And I spend a lot of time on my own just because I live by myself. But when I'm missing connection, and there's a little bit of that off the screen that can kind of the overalls come
Yes,
through, and I think that's the beautiful thing.
I like that.
So watch for that reason, I guess.
I like that. And lastly, what would you like to say to the Hardys, who are your fans? What would you like to say to them?
Oh, just thank you so much for supporting our show for all the years that you have, and I hope that we have many more seasons to go, and we can watch the kids grow up and get them into relationships, and that'd be so exciting and
I
fun,
will.
and have other characters from the past come back would be awesome.
Yes.
Um, Stay tuned to see what happens with Elizabeth and Nathan. And Lucas, Governor Lucas, and Cecilia. Or Jeanette, played by Cecilia. There's also the Coulters, the baby, and Lil Jack is going to go to school soon, and
Oh,
Dr. Faith and the most adorable little Lily.
so cute. Yes.
Yeah, the Yosts, obviously, and
Oh, and hello, and you and him.
Martin. Oh yeah, and
Hello. And you and
Maybe
him, we gotta watch. Hello, we gotta watch what's happening with
oh
you
yeah, there are a lot
two.
of exciting things. How oh my gosh, also watching the kiss last episode, I was
Yes,
just like, I again just like it's so funny because yeah, the all the almost kisses were
yes,
so hilarious. Like when the town pulled up.
yes.
I again, those are things that I didn't even realize like how funny they would look until you watch the final product. But yeah, let's see what happens with Mike and May, and if they meet his mom,
I
and
know. Honestly, the sister likes you, so that's good. Mei-Sue
yes,
likes you, so she likes you, so that's good. But yeah, I was like, they finally kissed. We had all been waiting for it. Nobody touched them. It's like, but it was like it was a nice progression. I think they really are giving you guys a nice progression. And it's like
yeah,
where there's that whole thing of going too long or
right,
too fast. Like you guys are like it was a good timing. It was good timing.
yeah, 5 months no kiss.
I know. I just look like, oh, they didn't. I'm like, they didn't. No, they almost did that. No, they're like, I go back and think about it because, like, well, they haven't at all. So, okay. So it was time. But you guys trust each other. You know each other. So, like, it was a good thing. It's like, that's a good thing to teach people. It's like, just you have to trust somebody and you're ready. And you guys are
Totally.
ready. I like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. And also Hope Valley and firstly Mike and May, they move slowly. They're they've not been lucky in love in many regards, and they want to take it slow with the right person.
And you both are busy. Your
Mhm.
characters are really busy. I mean, makes you doing like you have the pharmacy and this over here and ice cream. I'm like she is, and now you're holding down the fort for Fiona from over there. Too. I'm like, and he's doing. I mean, you guys are busy. You guys are busy.
Yeah, yeah.
So you gotta get through that too. But so everybody, stay tuned for more stuff on When Call Starts season 11. Hopefully, we get to season 12. Say it out loud. We're manifesting it. We're manifesting it. Thank you, Miss Amanda, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Happy to see you. Where can I follow if you want to talk to you? Where can I follow you online?
um, on Twitter or X and Instagram, I'm Amanda Wong without the middle A, so AMNDAWNG.
Follow there. And I'm James Lott Jr. I'm all over the place. JLJ Media is everywhere. This show is every Monday. I release new episodes of the reactions of the shows coming up. And I'm doing lots of interviews this season. So check all those out at JLJ Media and all audio streaming service platforms. Just go When Calls the Heart After Show. I mean, it's super simple to look it up. When Calls the Heart After Show. Don't look anywhere else. Hello to the administrators and everybody who are in the When Calls the Heart Facebook group. I love you guys. And thanks for watching and or listening. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.